Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The first order of business will be the oath of office of Oprah.
Other from a member of the commission, we have the formal swearing-in ceremony, so if you would, place your hand on the Bible. Left hand on the Bible, right hand to the ear. I, Barbara Hubbard,
I, Barbara Hubbard,
in accepting the position of Environmental Protection Commissioner,
in accepting this position as Environmental Protection Commissioner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly
that I will discharge the duties of the commission
that I will do this discharge the duties of the commission
to the best of my abilities at all times,
to the best of my ability,
without fear or favor,
and without fear or favor,
furthermore promise and swear
and furthermore promise and swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will uphold the Constitution
and the state of Iowa,
and the state of Iowa,
and will uphold the rules and policies of the Department of Natural Resources.
and will uphold the rules and policies of the
Thank you.
Officially on board. Okay, on to the monthly reports.
Good morning. Just a couple of comments this morning. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I know Chuck's going to address a little bit here, the staffing changes that we had to make here recently due to some budget challenges, and I'll kind of defer to Chuck on that, but if you've got any questions specifically, I'd be more than willing to try to answer those. But we just got to the point where, we've done a lot of efficiency work over the years in terms of process improvement and the like. And here at the Air Quality Bureau, where you're at right now, for instance, we're down like 15 different staff members. But all the process improvements that we've put in place over the last number of years have really made a significant difference. And even with the reduced number of staff, we're able to get permits out even faster and more efficiently than we have previously. So a lot of the things that we have been doing have really helped. It just got to the point this time where, and particularly when it came in the form of general fund, we had absorbed all those efficiencies with the resignations and the retirements and things that we've gotten over time, and we finally had to retire some people retiring for us. And, so it was not a very enjoyable process to go through, certainly for us as an NDA fund, but felt it was necessary. I'll let Chuck talk a little bit more broadly about the budget when he gets a chance here. The other thing that I wanted to point out, the thing that I put at your station is the press release that went out here not too long ago. And you're familiar with the different state revolving loan fund projects that we put out there. Those are the different projects that got funded here recently. And $78 million worth of different things. And the huge impact that we were able to have on things like water quality for the state revolving fund, in terms of the funding that we put out for improved wastewater treatment plants, for ag best management practices, whether they be on the landscape or associated with livestock production, the sponsored projects program that we've got that results in a lot of work that's done in urban stormwater, really having some huge impacts. And I think it's now we're well over like almost $2.5 billion worth of money that's gone out to communities and stakeholders out there to improve water quality around the state. In fact, on Wednesday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, John Tackney, Manny, and I are going to drive to the Butte. They got a huge SRF loan up there and a sponsored project. They also got some of this recent HUD money, and they have taken a formerly buried storm sewer that they had in the city, which is non-handling flow. They could have built a bigger pipe, which is generally the way communities deal with it. Let's just build a bigger pipe so we can get rid of the water faster. What they did instead was they tore this old storm sewer out, opened it up, and they've created a linear park now through the field. And it's called Reed's Branch stream there. And I was up there and saw that they've already tore down quite a number of houses because of the flooding that had occurred there and the damage that occurred. The HUD came and bought out those homes, and FEMA, now they've opened up the stream and created this park with an amphitheater and playgrounds and that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But those are the types of things we get involved in. And certainly we're not the design side of things, but if we can help them financially achieve their goals, that's what we want to do. So with that, I'll sit down unless any of you have any particular questions. Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Well, you guys give me a new job and I screwed up already, so we need to go back and approve the minutes.
Don't move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, on to public participation. We have a fair list of people that would like to speak today. We'll start with our callback. Everyone will get 3 minutes. Please respect that time. Although it's going to drop. Next, second one up is Debbie Bunker.
Welcome to the board. I see you've moved to the head of the table, so that's good. My name is Bart Kava. I'm a fourth-generation family farmer from Dexter, Iowa, and a member of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement since 2002. We are here as an organization today to deliver a formal rulemaking petition to strengthen the Master Matrix. Master Matrix promised to give our communities a voice in factory farm construction. The Master Matrix is now 15 years old, and that has not happened. The Master Matrix has amounted to little more than a rubber stamp. 50% and F is a passing grade in the Master Matrix. DNR records show that just 2.2% of applications that have used the Master Matrix have been denied, which means that a little over 98% have always been approved. And DNR's own analysis in 2000 shows that some items are used practically all the time, while others are hardly ever used. Your own analysis shows the Master Matrix is not working. Iowans are dealing with a factory farm industry that is polluting our water and our air and degrading our quality of life. Don't believe me? Just look around the room. Look at all the people here today. Look at the headlines in the paper. Your weak rules are letting factory farms get away with gaming the system, allowing them to pollute our water, pollute our air, and kick family farmers off their land. And Iowans are fed up. We have over 10,000 factory farms today in Iowa. Back in 2002, when I started this campaign, there were around 7,000. 5,000 more factory farms of unknown size were discovered by DNR in 2016. Altogether, they produce 22 billion gallons of manure that goes on our land and partly into our water every year. Half of the waters tested in this state are impaired, and the majority of the impairment is E. coli, which points to a factory farm manure product. Iowa is in a water crisis, and just to remind you that don't know, we're up to 750 polluted waterways now. In 2002, there were 212. Now, I don't think we're farming that much more land. We hear from DNR when we present this issue time and time again that our hands are tied and you need to go to the legislature. Guess what? We have gone to the legislature, and I've heard that since 2002. Been to the legislature. Chuck Gipp was a legislator then. And year after year after year, the legislature does nothing but cut your budget.
All right.
The legislature steadfastly refuses to act, except to defund DNR, of course, and discuss false solutions like voluntary compliance and pollution trading.
That's 3 minutes.
Is that 3? Oh my gosh. Well, I'll just finish my sentence. We're giving you the opportunity right now to give Iowans protections that they need and deserve from the factory farm industry. Changing the Master Matrix is something you can do without the legislature. Thank you.
name is Deborah Bunk, and I'm a member of ICCI residing in Ames. This morning we will hear many reasons why the time has come to rethink and redraw the master matrix. A lack of leadership on this issue, the ongoing degradation of Iowa's natural resources, and the failure to heed the call for local control have all brought us to this critical moment. ICCI has been listening to people across the state, and in order to heed their overwhelming call, we've submitted a petition for rulemaking changes. Our petition includes demands for the following: a higher minimum passing score requiring applicants to earn more of the possible points to obtain a permit, a one-time enrollment for counties rather than the current burdensome requirement for counties to readopt the master matrix every year, revisions to the point structure to incentivize practices that prevent or mitigate pollution, new criteria that considers factors currently unaddressed by the matrix, such as karst topography, existing water pollution impairments, and water quality monitoring. Elimination of criteria that do not provide meaningful environmental or community benefits, and changes to strengthen existing criteria, such as increased separation distances from schools, homes, public use areas, waterways, and wells. The rulemaking petition being filed today is part of our larger vision for agricultural justice. This vision, developed in collaboration with organizations from across 10 states, is a statement of our values and beliefs and includes respect for the critical role that farmers and ranchers play in our society, understanding that diversity of crops, producers, practices, and income is essential to the strength and resilience of land and economies, understanding that food production and consumption connects us to the land and our neighbors, and understanding that current corporate-controlled food systems damage us and do not align with our values and beliefs. Knowing that in history, we can find valuable wisdom about the relationship between farms and the land as well as their communities. By connecting each generation of farmers to those of past, present, and future, we can make wiser decisions in daily life and in current policies to create the future we want. And finally, understanding that making these values and beliefs real in our communities and in the world will take a fundamental transformation of our agricultural and food production systems. In order to achieve this change, we must be an engaged and impassioned citizenry organizing for power, much like you see here today. With this vision in mind, we are here today to submit our rulemaking petition and to implore you to listen to the voice of the people. Thank you.
Next shoot, and next is Judy Leonard.
Thank you for listening to us today. My name is Nick Shute. I'm a CCI member and a family farmer from Hardin County. What a better place one could live and raise a family than in the country of Iowa. If only that was the case. Fresh air, crisp, cool water, peace and quiet, and good quality of life. At one time we had all that. The fresh air we enjoyed with the windows open and clean clothes hanging on the line was something to die for. All by working outside and enjoying the works that God has created for us. But now my fresh air is replaced with boarded up windows, my clothes and linen can no longer be hung out to dry, and my quality of life on the farm stinks almost as bad as a cattle factory farm that sits 1,900 feet northwest of my bedroom window.
Right.
I shouldn't be able to hear cows in my house. I shouldn't be able to smell them in my house. And you guys allow this. Any chance I could offer you that cold, crisp drink of water from my garden hose? You notice I didn't say clean. Corporate greed has stolen the good life God created for me and fellow Iowans. We now have over 10,000 factory farms that produce 22 billion gallons of untreated manure that gets applied to the land and then runs off into our water. No wonder we have 750 impaired water bodies in the state of Iowa, along with a record number of beach advisories. When is enough enough? Right now, Iowa faces a shortfall of $130 million at the expense of most Iowans. While Big Ag is doing just fine, they're a $112.2 billion industry. Meanwhile, the DNR is eliminating staff, like you guys just said, that could oversee factory farms and closing state parks. What could go wrong? We can't handle more factory farms, yet we're operating with a weak, outdated system that allows factory farms to expand with virtually no protection for Iowans or the environment. We need you to do your job and work for Iowans. We need you to strengthen the master matrix. Thank you.
Up next is Paula Egan.
Hi there. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I decided to. I am Judy Lemish. I'm from Ames, Iowa, and I am a CCI member. I've been for a little while now, and I was just curious, is there anybody here from Dickinson County up by Okoboji on the board? Okay. Well, anyway, I was going to speak to that. The role of the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, like it says on your sign, leading Iowans and caring for our natural resources. Well, I used to go up there as a child to Okoboji all the time, and my dad didn't like the water. He went up to Minnesota to fish. They do an excellent job in Minnesota protecting their water. We do not. And for the last maybe 5 or 6 years, a friend has been inviting me up to Okoboji, and some of that is changing. Dickinson County has been spending a lot of money, their tax dollars, the DNR spends millions of dollars to protect that lake and the waterways that empty into it from invasive species like plants and animals. So we're doing a lot to do that improvement, to improve the recreation so that we improve the local economy up there. So when we allow these factory farms everywhere else in the state, are we just spending good money after bad? I think we are. I mean, this is a great economic resource for them up there, and it can be for the rest of the state. So why aren't we doing enough? So after listening to many other people in some of these discussion sessions that they had for CCI to strengthen the master matrix, I had to say I had to come down today and say a little thing about that, and I think it would increase the economic impact on all Iowans if we don't forget that there are other economic values in this system besides factory farms.
That's right.
So we need to think about that. So I asked you to please do that. Thank you for letting me speak.
Paula Egan. Next is Jan McGinnis.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to us and considering our opinions. My name is Paula Egan. I live in Des Moines. I am a recent transplant from Marin County, California. That's just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Where I came from, the Marin Agricultural Land Trust is a very sacred duty of the citizens of Marin County. They promote agriculture that is organic and sustainable, and that's the kind of food that people want to eat and feed to their families. They pride themselves in the happy cows and the happy pigs and the happy chickens that are wandering around on green hillsides out there. And that's the kind of food that people want to feed to their families, their children. So when I moved to Iowa, I said, I've heard about this Iowa CCI. I'm a member, I'm a proud member, but I kept hearing about the master matrix. I didn't know what it was. To me, it seems like it's a dystopian science fiction novel that is unfolding in Iowa. What is going on here? It is up to you to help us, the citizens of Iowa, who are living here and being poisoned by big ag.
Jan McGinnis. Next is Tyler Petition.
A few years ago, I would have never believed that I'd be reading so many books on agriculture, but I have read 5 books on agriculture in the last year. And we are doing a lot in Iowa that is not good for the coming generation. I teach adolescents, and right now, among the most popular forms of fiction among the adolescents is dystopian fiction. They are reading about a society that takes place after the dissolution of the United States of America. And they're reading about this, and they're writing this type of fiction because they no longer believe that our government speaks for them. They no longer believe that our government works for them. What they see in Iowa, they see year after year of corn being planted on corn, this topsoil being washed down the Mississippi, the increasing dead zone at the Gulf of Mexico. And they see nothing being done about it. They see depleted aquifers as we empty our aquifers to water livestock. And what they really see is some of the greatest misappropriation of natural resources in the history of the world. But it's a little bit different than it was 250 years ago. We can't just move west, because we're depleting those resources too. We need a government that will fund efforts to conserve the soil, to increase the diversity of crops that we grow so we're using fewer pesticides and herbicides. We need to keep our water clean, and we need to keep our aquifers replenished so this future generation is not looking at a world that is marked by starvation and an oppressive government.
Tyler Bettine, next is Sherry Hawk.
Hi, I'm Tyler Bettine. I'm staff of Iowa Pork Producers Association. I want to thank you again for your service on this commission and the opportunity to address you here this morning. First of all, I'm speaking in support of item 6 on your agenda, addressing the proposed rule change allowing for online submission of manure management plans. IBPA delegate members passed a resolution at their annual meeting in January supporting online submission and retention of MMPs, provided that flexibility is offered for continued paper submission for those that choose to do so. Bringing this annual MMP update process online can greatly streamline the process and add efficiency for our farmers, as well as DNR and county staff. It can help ensure timely and accurate information and fee payment, as well as help reduce confusion among county office staff not familiar with these plans or the process, also enabling streamlined information provided directly back to those counties. So again, appreciate and hope for your support on that proposed rule. You're also hearing a lot about the master matrix here this morning. I should point out that the master matrix increases standards for our larger farms in Iowa and was designed into our stair-step regulatory approach, which we believe has been and continues to be an effective tool for county input, regulatory consistency across Iowa. We believe DNR continues to address these sites and improve based on current law, matrix scores, and actual science-based and actual impacts, meeting legislators' intent when creating these rules in 2002. This statewide regulatory framework helps ensure science-based regulations and fosters better opportunity for understanding, compliance, and enforcement. We look forward to offering additional information for you as you address this issue at future meetings, and thank you again for your service on this commission and your time today.
Sherry Hawk, next is Mike Carberry.
Hi, my name is Sherry Hawk. I'm from Ankeny, and I'm a proud Iowa CCI member. I was reading in the paper yesterday a submission by Ray, and forgive my pronunciation, Gesser, past president of the Iowa Soybean Association. And he talked about how Tim Reynolds and our entourage going to China, and that they should stress the improvements U.S. farmers continue making to be the world's most sustainable providers of food. And I thought about that, and I thought we're as far as we could possibly be in Iowa from being sustainable. 750 polluted waterways in Iowa are not sustainable. Over 10,000 factory farms are not sustainable. 22 billion gallons of untreated manure in Iowa are not sustainable.
That's right.
And over 800 manure spills in Iowa are not sustainable.
That's right.
Record-setting 37 beaches with advisories last year, not sustainable.
That's right.
And 430 new confinements approved every year, when we already know all of those other things prove that our ag system is not sustainable.
That's right. That's right.
Please, please do this tiny, minuscule little thing
That's
Right. That is in your power to do and strengthen the master matrix. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mike Carberry, and I thank you all for your service and for being here. I'm a Johnson County supervisor. But I grew up in a small Benton County town of Newhall where my dad was a large animal veterinarian. And I remember farrowing huts. And I have held thousands and thousands of pigs while they're being castrated. I would challenge Joey Ernst on that pig castration. And I grew up skinny dipping in the waters of Benton County, in the creeks and the lakes and the ponds. I can't do that anymore. And why is that? It's because the way that we raise meat. It's the manure. I'm sorry, it's the hog crap. And I can no longer get into a body of water. I'm a professional environmental advocate. That's what I did for 15 years before I became a county supervisor. I've fought for sustainable agriculture. I've fought for clean water, for clean energy. I used to clean up creeks. That was one of my favorite things. People dump stuff in creeks that they shouldn't, shopping carts, bicycles and stuff. But I would get sick the day after with a strange flu-like symptom. And it was because of the water. We need to do something about the water. The way that we're raising hogs and other animals, our model is just not right. And we sent a letter to the Board of Supervisors on August 11th of last year asking the DNR to fix some of the holes in the master matrix, site distance, number of animal units, and given us county supervisors more control. We have very, very little control. When only 2.2% of confinements don't pass, that's, and they basically get to score themselves. It's just not right.
That's right.
I don't know, I'm about ready to cry. I want to go skinny dipping again. I just can't do it. And somebody got sworn in today. I got sworn in 2.5 years ago, and what I was tasked with was protect the health and safety and the welfare of the citizens of Johnson County. The DNR's message and mission statement is to conserve and enhance our natural resources in cooperations with individuals and organizations to improve the quality of life for Iowans and ensure a legacy for future generations. I need to do my job. I need to do our mission. So I ask you to please help the DNR complete their mission. And please, please, just do your job. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mary Ann Koch. I live in Des Moines here, and I'm a proud member of CCI. Around the world, there's a common cry that is going out today, and that is that water is life. We may have water here in Iowa, but if it is polluted and by what is going on upstream from us, then it's dangerous for us. This is not the life-giving water that we all need. This is the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. And what I'm asking today is that you live up to your slogan that's on the sign there, leading Iowans in caring for our natural resources. Water is one of our main resources. At the beginning of this meeting, there was talk about all the money that's going into helping the water that's in Iowa. Well, Ben Franklin once said, a stitch in time saves 9. And that still applies to us today. So why not do what can be done to prevent pollution of our water? That's right. Instead of having to put lots of money into repairing the water that has been polluted. So again, I would just say water is life. And by that we mean quality water that can be safe for all of us to drink easily without having to filter it and do lots of other things to it. Again, water is life. Thank you.
Anna Garst. Next is Kelly Menon.
Hi, my name is Anna Garst, and I currently live distinctly remember when I was 10 years old, all the meetings my mom was organizing with neighbors to try to fight a cake boat that was trying to establish near our house. Although we were one of the few that seemed to scare them away, there is still a threat to this day. No one should have to live in that fear of this threat on their livelihood and the environment, which is why I support this petition being presented today.
Kelly Menon. Next is Sharon Johnson.
Hello, my name is Kelly Menon. This is my daughter Everly. We live in Altoona, Iowa. But my parents live on a small farm in northeast Iowa, and northeast Iowa today looks very different from when I grew up there. Every small town is surrounded by factory farms. You can't go outside and enjoy your quality of life like you could before. I have to worry about my daughter visiting her Nana and Papa. I have to worry about the air she breathes, the water she drinks. Because hog confinements have been built directly across from my parents' house, directly next to my parents' house, and even down the road. I'm here to support ICCI for greater separation distances for small units, and ask you to consider local topography, such as karst topography, like in Elmhurst County. Karst topography enables contaminants to enter springs, streams, and aquifers with little to no filtration, which is why studies have shown that studies conducted by the Iowa Environmental Council shows that wells tested in 7 counties with karst topography, like Elmhurst and Winnebago, have contamination rates well above those of the other 92 counties in Iowa. Would you let your daughter drink from those wells? We can no longer drink water at my parents' place in Elmhurst County. As a teacher, I take pride in knowing I do my absolute best to teach, inspire, and protect my students. How are you protecting the citizens of Iowa? Your mission is to conserve and enhance our natural resources, to improve the quality of life for Iowans and future generations. If I passed students for meeting 50% of the state's requirements, we would have a state with students who couldn't read and write.
Right.
Allowing factory farms to meet 50% of their requirements has created a state with contaminated air and water. We are asking you to do your job. Protect the citizens of Iowa, protect our future generations. Thank you.
Sharon Johnson. Next is Kristen Hagan.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Johnson. I live right here in Windsor Heights, and I'm a native Iowan. I've lived here all my life, never lived outside of the state. I always used to be proud to be an Iowan, but now Iowa is the #1 state in the country for the number of polluted waterways that we have. Is that something to be proud of?
No.
I can't be proud of Iowa anymore. I'm actually ashamed of it. Now, the Master Matrix was created 15 years ago, and it has done nothing to stop factory farms from polluting our communities and our environment. Is that something to be proud of?
No.
The environmental words and efforts have been ignored and cast aside by our government, by our legislature for so many years that it is now to the point that we are in crisis. We hear about it on the news every week, in the paper every day. Everybody's talking about it. We have a water crisis, and we can't wait any longer. The factory farm application process has to change, and you're the ones that can help us do that. Thank you.
Kristen Hagan. Next is Maggie Rowan.
Good morning. My name is Petition. I'm representing the Iowa Farm Bureau Federation today. I grew up on a livestock and crop farm in eastern Iowa, so I have some agricultural roots, and I guess I'm proud to say that our home farm gets to get the Century Farm designation this year, so that's always a good, happy occasion. I'm here today to support the approval of item 6 to begin the rulemaking process. This proposal provides an option to file the annual interim management plan update, and the annual compliance fees electronically. Especially want to thank the DNR staff that spent a lot of time on this project, such as Jera, Ted Peterson, I think Kenny Book is here as well. We spent a lot of time developing this project and also the web application. This morning we heard a lot about the master matrix, and just want to provide a little bit of perspective since I was personally around when that was being developed. It was developed in a public process by a diverse group of people with diverse interests. Hardworking people representing our state universities, county governments, agriculture, and environmental groups. I personally watched them deliberate for months. The group was facilitated by a federal arbitrator that was ultimately able to bring the group to a consensus on a compromise proposal. Then this proposal went through a robust rulemaking process, including approval by this commission twice. Everyone had an opportunity to provide public comment. Did we support everything in the master matrix? No, from day one. But that's the nature of a compromise, and it's also the nature of the rulemaking process. Today you're being presented with one perspective on what the master matrix should be. But just because there isn't universal agreement doesn't mean that the master matrix rule should be rewritten. The issues raised today were discussed and raised then. The current rule is a compromise arrived at by a diverse group of interests that went through a thorough public process. We will review the proposed petition, and we look forward to providing you input on that in the future.
Thank you, Roland. Next is Diane Siasko.
Good morning. I'm Maggie Rowland from Des Moines, Iowa. I am an environmentalist. Environmentalists have been discounted for many years. The results have been drastic, with unaccepted water and air pollution, and top scientists are even now pointing to evidence of climate change. Here in Iowa, the master matrix is supposed to protect our environment and communities from factory farm pollution, but instead, it rubber stamps nearly every applicant regardless of who or what it impacts. Iowans deserve better. It's up to you, DNR, to take your responsibility seriously as you protect our environment. Thank you.
Diane Siasko. Next is Joe Fagan.
Good morning. My name is Diane Siasko from Des Moines, Iowa. Factory farm pollution is affecting me and Iowa moms every day. My pregnant friends do not trust Iowa tap water.
That's not right.
They're going to the internet and paying hundreds of dollars to put fancy filters on their sinks, and it's not right.
That's right.
I'm here today to support Iowa CCI's petition to strengthen the master matrix rulemaking because it's something we can do now for Iowa parents and children.
That's right.
Water is life. Thank you.
Woo! Joe Fagan. Next is Vern Figgis.
My name is Joe Fagan. I live in Des Moines. We're here, and I'm a CCI member. We're here to do what we can to stop the pollution of water in the state. And the master matrix was put in there so that locals could have something to say about it. And so locals could have a voice in the whole thing. And up to this time, it's like, it's been a facade. I mean, you have the master matrix and you got it set up in such a way that it really does very little to have the locals really have anything to say about it at all.
That's right.
I used to live in Albuquerque County. I lived there. It was a beautiful county. I loved the county. You could go to a lot of streams and you could see right to the bottom right to the bottom, to the water, right down to the bottom. I'm sure if I go back there now, I would, and I know Alameda has built factory farms. What a travesty. A real travesty. And I don't think you guys, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I don't think you really take it seriously at all. And we're here to ask you to support the changes in this matrix to make it a little more like that the locals could have something to say about it. Something's better than nothing. And let's really take it seriously. Take water, clean water seriously. My God, it's everybody's saying it. Not just us; it's across the world. People are saying it. You guys need to be saying it too. Thanks.
Vern Tigas, next is Jess Missouri.
Good morning. My name is Vern Tigas, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm formerly of Carroll, Iowa, and I now reside in Adele, Iowa, all along the Raccoon River watershed, all my life. But I've lived out here now for 4.5 years. Bill Aim mentioned about the efficiency of getting permits out, and I don't assume he was talking about livestock permits, but I can imagine that those have increased in efficiency too. Right, Bill? You get them out much faster than you used to? Yeah, okay. So what I'm saying is that we're becoming saturated now with livestock, livestock confinement operations. We don't really have a whole lot more hogs than we used to have. It's just that they're more concentrated.
That's right.
Okay, but just go on a little further. I just got back from a 6-week long trip to Britain and Poland. You wouldn't believe what's happening in Poland. Agriculture, it's pristine. Pristine. But there are livestock confinements too. But they take care of it in a different way. They take care of what happens to it. They compost it. They reuse it. Not straight out of the pit and straight onto the land where it can flow down into the creek. It is completely processed and then spread on as you would any other fertilizer. The system is more concentrated too, as far as people really work at their agriculture. Here it seems to be a pastime anymore. When you see that it's 3 months out of the year is when agriculture is really done. There, they work at it year round. Despite the winter, they're out there doing something. Okay, on this trip, now I lost my passport while I was over. My wife fell down the mine shaft. Okay, I've got your attention now. Okay? Now, when we came back off of this trip, my granddaughter got married. Our oldest granddaughter.
That's 3 minutes.
What I'm saying is that don't make my great-granddaughter fight this fight for clean water, and don't make for what clean water there might be left after the human casualties of the environment that man has put upon this earth. Save the water that is there now for the sake of my great-grandchildren.
Thank you.
Jess Missouri, next is Brenda Brent.
My
My name is Jess Mazur. I am a Des Moines resident. I work at CCI. I'm a proud CCI member. And after listening to pork producers and Farm Bureau, let's talk about reality versus fake news. Because let me tell you that, of course, Farm Bureau and pork producers don't want to change the master matrix because they're profiting from it. Yeah. They're profiting while we, the taxpayers, pay to clean up the pollution. Mom's installing filters under their sink. My water bill goes up 10% about every single year. So of course they don't want to change it because then they know they have to pay their fair share and they have to do things that actually stop the pollution at its source. In my 5 years working at CCI, I've worked with communities all across the state. And I hear the same thing from Iowans. They're sick of their property values declining, the smell, the water quality crisis, the pollution in their wells, dead hogs in dumpsters, dying family farms, roads that are destroyed. And then when we work with you, the EPC, in Adair County, you remember Dean Anderson who came to testify? We had to do a video because he had COPD. He had to live so close to these factory farms he couldn't breathe. It was life or death for him. He died after you approved that factory farm. The county said no, and you overturned their decision.
That ain't right.
In Alameda County, they fought back. They didn't want that factory farm next to the naturally producing trout stream. They didn't want a factory farm there. But you approved it.
Yeah, right.
In Powashik County, they didn't want those prestige factory farms. Next to the little kid with muscular dystrophy, they needed to use the swimming pool in his backyard for exercise, but he couldn't breathe. Jim Youngclass, who you all mirrored here, he died this weekend. He didn't get to see us fix this problem, and we're not giving up. We're not going to stop.
No.
We watched the legislature do nothing, except for weakened manure application laws. Allow bills to pass that let us put manure on frozen and snow-covered ground. That makes no sense. You passed a bill that stops citizens from filing nuisance lawsuits against the factory farms impacting their lives.
That ain't right.
You didn't put a ban on applying manure on fields that are going into soybeans. Soybeans produce more nitrogen. We don't need to apply manure onto those fields. And now you want to have online MMPs. But what I didn't hear you say was, how does the public have access to this? What can the public use this information to hold these factory farms accountable? You're only working for the industry.
That's right.
And what that's led us to is 750 impaired waterways. Over 10,000 factory farms that produce 22 billion gallons of liquid manure every year. 430 new factory farms in our state every year. That's not right.
Right.
And here's what else I see. We've signed up over 500 new members, clean water members in the state, because we're fed up. We activated 1,000 islands this weekend because we're fed up. We're not giving up. You have two options: work with us or work against us, but we will keep fighting. We will get clean water in our state.
Yeah.
Next up is Ann.
My name is Brenda Brink. I'm a proud member of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. And I live near Huxley, Iowa. Well, I would like to propose that we get rid of some labels. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. Lifelong Iowan, newly arrived citizen, doesn't matter. Urban or rural, it doesn't matter. We all need clean water and a healthy environment. But right now, people in our environment are suffering from a master matrix. We are suffering because it was supposed to protect us in our water. It is not. We need local control, but right now, the only protection against industrial CAFOs, the only protection is this master matrix, and it's 15 years old. It's time to update it. It doesn't protect us. It doesn't protect our property values. It doesn't protect our quality of life. And it doesn't protect our livelihoods. Those of you who have been on the EPC for a while, you've heard these stories. You know what I'm saying is true. It doesn't protect our resources, Iowa's resources. The Environmental Protection Commission is here to protect the people and the environment we need. Yet it has been catering to the unsustainable, out-of-state industry big boys that suck money, they suck the future benefits out of our state. Yes, the ones I've heard called stakeholders. Stakeholders? They seem to have the ear of the DNR. They seem to get the benefit of the doubt whenever complaints occur. And they seem to get the first shot, am I right, at writing the rules that they are supposed to follow.
Absolutely.
Why isn't it everyday Iowans who get those benefits? You know, those Iowans have to put up with a bin of adult hogs for 2.5 weeks. A bin. Yeah, that just happened in Story County. Just happened in Story County. Just imagine for a minute the stink of a dead animal in a field near your house. And you say, oh man, can't wait till that dries up and it doesn't smell anymore. That's horrible. Well, okay, let's go back to that 2.5 weeks that those adult hogs were festering in an overflowing bin, festering, rotting, spewing putrid, antibiotic-filled liquid into our watershed. Imagine that unimaginable stink. Not to mention spawning a new epidemic of flies. I'd say that the stakeholders have been misidentified. That's right. The master matrix needs to include the real stakeholders and serve them, and it's your job to make sure the master matrix is strengthened and stronger for a healthier and stronger Iowa.
That's right. And we will next is Erica Burton.
Good morning, my name is Jan Lake-Rowlett, and I represent the Iowa Cattlemen's Association. Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to comment on Agenda Item 6, the proposed amendment to the Animal Feeding Operations Rule, allowing for the electronic submission of manure management plan updates and associated fees. And thank you to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for proposing this rule that makes sense for farmers and for Iowa. The Iowa Cattlemen's Association represents 10,000 producer families and industries that are dedicated to growing Iowa's food. Just as in their own business, our members believe any opportunity to improve efficiency and streamline a process is one worth taking. And we believe that is just what this amendment seeks to do. Allowing updates to the MMPs to be made electronically will simplify the process and reduce expense for both the DNR and producers. On behalf of our members, I reaffirm our support of the proposed rule amendments for Chapter 65, Animal Feeding Operations. I would also like to take this opportunity to speak in support of the Master Matrix. The current system raises the standards for permitting of facilities and allows counties to work with individual farmers and the professionals those farmers hire to implement those standards. Thank you.
My name is Erica Blair, and I'm with Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. And as we spoke before you today, we officially filed this petition to strengthen the Master Matrix with the Compliance and Enforcement Bureau. The DNR and EPC no longer are able to tell us that their hands are tied. The ball is in your court now. You can do something about this. That's right. Iowans are suffering. You've heard that today. You've heard the statistics. You've heard the stories. What more evidence do you need? This spring, we went around the state and we talked to your stakeholders, your real stakeholders for you.
Yeah.
We went to 8 different communities to talk to them about the Master Matrix. Is it working for you? Guess what we heard? No, it's not. They want the Master Matrix to hold factory farms to higher environmental and community standards. That's right. It's so lax that practically every single application is rubber stamped. It doesn't consider site-specific issues like sensitive karst terrain. It doesn't consider the water contamination in the area. It doesn't work for county boards of supervisors. If
If the master matrix works so well, as representatives from the Farm Bureau, Cattlemen's Association, Pork Producers Association say, then why have 13 counties called for strengthening the master matrix? The industry doesn't want the master matrix to change because it only benefits the industry. But guess what? It's an industry, and it needs to be regulated just like any other industry.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
We want the EPC and the DNR to protect us and our communities, our water and our air. For years and years, that hasn't happened. And the legislature hasn't done anything for us either. You all know that. They're cutting your budget. Iowans can't wait for the legislature. They've given us no reason to believe that they will do anything to improve conditions for Iowans or our water quality. Last session, there was one bill for local control. That didn't go anywhere. There were 2 bills for the master matrix. That didn't go anywhere either. You know what? We deserve more than just changes to the master matrix.
That's right.
We deserve local control.
Yes.
We deserve polluters to pay for their own pollution.
That's right.
We need a moratorium on factory farms.
Yes.
And we're going to keep fighting for that. But right now, we need you to do something about the master matrix, because this is something that you can do right now. You don't have any more excuses. We need you to take up this petition and strengthen the rules. Iowans deserve better.
That ends our public comment period. We'll move on to director's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, welcome Barbara to the Environmental Commission. It's always interesting to see or hear presentations and then take away from those presentations. I'd like to expand a little bit more on one of the items that Bill Ames brought forth today. When I announced the Iowa Finance Authority and Iowa Department of Natural Resources announced $78.1 million in water quality loans for 33 communities. This is a very successful program. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources, in conjunction with the Iowa Finance Authority, receives what's called the State Revolving Loan Fund coming from the PA. And with that, we've successfully helped communities with upgrade their waste treatment plants and the water systems to make sure that the waste that's generated in the communities is processed properly before discharging to the receiving stream. So it's one of the great stories out there about how wastewater treatment plants, as communities have forgotten, and about the investment they need to make in waste treatment systems to meet today's standards. This has actually helped them. So we have $2.7 billion that comes through that partnership. It's now the #1 SRF program in the nation. We're very proud of that. So Bill's message to you today was to give you that good news story of what's happening out there about money coming through the EPA and administered to the Iowa Finance Authority and Department of Natural Resources to help communities successfully provide for waste treatment systems and upgrades. We've been to a number of small towns across Iowa and one of those, a little town in eastern Iowa. And at one time, if you look at this facility, it was built in 1956, it was the top of the line, obviously. But as our NPS coordinator said that at the time, this may be a great waste treatment system when Eisenhower was president, but no longer president. So we're helping those people upgrade those systems that took like 2 years. And so this is a great story. And so thanks, Bill, for bringing that down. Let's not mischaracterize what that means to communities to have this type of support that we live in the community. Secondly, the petition which Erica just put on the desk here, which has been delivered to my office over there, Deputy Secretary, Deputy Administrator Bruce Trout has received that. It's now on Ed Corney's desk, and we'll be reviewing that petition to determine what we as legally can do with that petition. We'll review it to determine whether or not some of the suggestions can be done through the administrative rule process or whether they're required to be through legislative action. And so we'll bring that report to you as we look at that. We have, 60 days, I believe, before we must act on that. We must make a determination. We must bring that to the EPC to determine what to do with that rulemaking process. And we will do so as long as we review that. We appreciate receiving those. We always look at those and take those very seriously. The other thing I'd like to bring to you today and talk about, and it was somewhat alluded to, and that is the report want to bring it back up because the results of the legislative action has now caused us to have to lay off 8 people. It was not a fun day last week. But we did it. The 8 people that got let go didn't get fired, they got laid off because they had their positions were funded through the general fund portion, which is appropriated by the legislature. And so if you look at that, you can see through the chart that some of you have seen before, but it's good for you all to be refreshing this. High point for general fund appropriation for legislation from FY09. The $22 million. As we sit here today, it's 11.3. The number one source, not source, but the number one recipient of general fund money is State Park. Secondly, it's non-federal match, and so the conservation rec side of the agency, of course, is where the parks are and the forestry bureau was. But non-federal match is the second biggest line item in there. That impacts the work of the Environmental Service Division department because those flexible dollars appropriated to allow us to get the money through the federal government. It's flexible enough to do that. And so what we've done and the decisions we made is based on allowing enough of the general fund support to continue to operate our state parks, get the environmental services side on the match that we need to do, and then down the order. We've consistently since this time reduced the amount of employees and made decisions either through retirements or vacancies. We're currently sitting in 90 vacancies in all across this country. Fortunately, for the quality of the employees we have in the department, we're still able to get out permits, air quality permits, those types of mandated federal through the Clean Water Act, Clean Air, to get those out on a timely basis. But we're running out of bodies because of the general fund reductions. I'd like to say it was because there wasn't enough money in the budget. In this particular case, the Ag and Natural Research budget did not get reduced. It was simply a shift from our side of the our agency and the Ag and Natural Research budget to other agencies covered under the Ag and Natural Research budget. It wasn't a reduction, it was a shift. $1 million less for the department, $1 million more for another agency. That's what happened. The result of that, plus failure to fund the salary bill, and that is the collective bargaining agreements, which is not done by us, not done by the agencies, failing to fund that for the last 8 years. That's across multiple administrations, multiple controls of the legislature. That's not a partisan comment, that's the reality of it. The Ag and Natural Resources budget has been cut and reduced. And without funding the salary bill and the average cost of employees about 3.25%, when we talk about salary and benefits, that means we've actually given about 20% reduction in that item alone by not doing that. So it pointed to a place where we had no other options other than to look at how we're going to balance our budget. We're required to balance the budget in Iowa, and we did that. That means eliminating positions. Positions that were not just FTEs, they were names. They were Bob, they were Gene, they were Dave, they were Tim, they were Pete, they were Libby. That's the people who work for the department. They have names, and they do good work. And the service will be diminished. We can't eliminate positions without having the impact of what they do. Well, you only have to take up so much of the work by other people who are left doing that, and they've done that job. And they do get their jobs done. But we'll run out of places until we can do it. So what I want to do is make sure that you, as commissioners on both the CRD side and others, know about this, so you can advocate on our behalf, because we do important. And it takes bodies to do that. Ironically, I had a call from a legislator who was somebody complained to him that the grass wasn't being mowed at Manawa State Park. There was a water line that wasn't working at Wabanzi State Park. Well, guess what? It takes somebody to mow the grass. It isn't done through electronic transmission. It takes somebody to clean the stools. That doesn't happen through a computer. It takes bodies to do that. We now have 23 state parks with only one permanent employee. We normally have 240 seasonal employees. We're down to 150. That means you're not going to have the experience you want to get, even though these people are working to provide that experience. But ironically, when grass doesn't get mowed, call your legislator. What the heck's the department doing? for anybody that applies to us, that's our program, there's criteria, getting that, but it's, right now, the interest rate is 1.75%, and you get a certain period to pay that back. So it's for various sizes. If you look at communities in which built in, yeah, you hand this out, you'll see that the biggest in this round was $33 million. So we've got a number of cities. Des Moines Waterworks in the city of Des Moines itself has had several $1 million in helping upgrade waste treatment in Des Moines. Des Moines City, they got WRA, Water Resources Association, and these millions of dollars to help upgrade. And it's a great process. We don't necessarily have the money to do it all at once for the city itself, but when you have a repayment stream at 1.4%, you can go and upgrade these facilities. With the new construction strategy and the call for reducing the impact of nitrogen phosphorus, both on non-point and source side, when they've gotten their NCF permits and it's come up with 5 years renewal, this is the type of dollars that are available to upgrade that system to reduce the impact of nitrogen phosphorus on point source side. So it's an incredibly great tool that's used. Like I said, $2.7 million has been used to upgrade this treatment systems and provide water systems.
So when you think about pollution from these treatment plants, do you have any data that we use to help allocate that money? Because you see a lot of small communities have these lagoons and they empty them right into the waterways. It's not a treatment like we would see with the Des Moines Waterworks, for example.
The problem, this is where we have, this is an issue we have in the legislature in multiple states in our Midwest that have found out the same problem. We actually belong to EP Region 7 out of Kansas City, and that includes the states of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa. And we're fairly common in that way that we have a lot of communities that basically need to be populated. Because young people decide not to go back to the small town because they want to go where there's something to do after they get off work and where the jobs are. And so, and that's reality. Young people aren't going back to those places because there isn't the jobs there, and there's nothing to do after 5 o'clock at night. And so they have to upgrade their waste treatment systems to meet the water quality standards, but they're doing it with an aging, declining population. So even at 1.75%, they're not going to have the population to pay off the bond and debt. Just had a small community, actually it's not a small community, about 1,000 in Kelmer, Iowa, up in northeast Iowa, and they upgraded their waste treatment system years and years ago. They paid $15 a month just for the relieve the bond of indebtedness, and now with the new production strategy, they have to upgrade their system. So they're still paying off the old bond of indebtedness with their monthly fees. So there's even a city like that, 750 to 1,000 are what we call disadvantaged communities. There's classified as such. They simply say you don't have the wherewithal to do the investments without having individual residents pay $80, $90 a month for waste treatment. And so this is a problem in our particular region. Communities that failed to upgrade their systems previously or didn't charge enough all along and now have these expensive upgrades. So what we do is we work with them to help them provide and plead with also the CPA is if they could upgrade their system with less expensive mechanical systems that improves the environmental degradation and use of that by upgrading their system, what they can do. That's what we need to do. We otherwise help them provide it because they simply can't go back to an aging population and fixed income places. A lot of our communities are out there. It's estimated that 916 corporate communities, about 550 would be class 1 disadvantaged. But it's a struggle we have in order to have that happen. It's not the big metropolitan areas, but even big metropolitan areas have a problem in some cases because at one time they had their sanitary system, their stormwater system were one and the same. Their stormwater system really is overtaxing the waste treatment system with water that does not need to be treated as much as the waste that's generated from the sanitary system. So separating those pounds, sanitary and stormwater, is also takes huge investment to do that alone. A bunch of them are doing that, but it takes time, it takes dollars to invest in the infrastructure today.
So, good answer, but I'll still go back to my original question. Do we have any feel for the amount of pollution that we get from these small communities versus the larger communities that have true mechanical processing?
It's really not that much. That's why the new construction strategy targeted 140 to 150 the largest emitters, which makes 83 to 85% of the wastewater generated. So we're going to improve water quality, go where the wastewater is generated, and that is the larger community industrial facilities on the point source side. You try to work as best you can with small communities. Maybe they can do clustered septic systems or something like that, something that's less expensive, less owners to handle. The other problem that they have is finding a certified wastewater operator to operate their facility. Because you have to have the education, you have to teach, and finding certified operator grade 3, grade 4, and paying them what they need to be able in a small community when they can be working a bigger community. They're not going back there either. So it's increasingly difficult for small communities to get an operator certification. A lot of these communities, the dog catcher and the wastewater operator is one and the same. And so we find that out there. Small communities struggle with it. The government to find the personnel necessary. So having them have a less mechanical system, less mechanical system like a lagoon system, to get that up there so it doesn't take as much to operate that process the waste that way is how we try to work with it. But it still takes time and it takes money, it's still a cost, you still have the time of operation. So the long answer to your question was, no, we'll continue to work with these smaller communities, give them the timelines they need in order to get upgrades and meet water quality standards. And obviously, they're also not part of the infrastructure today for the nitrate and phosphorus removal of the system.
Director Gibb, just like outdated wastewater management infrastructure needs to be updated, so do outdated rules that no longer work.
So that they will sense it so well. Ultraviolet rays kill off bacteria, so on controlled discharge, they just, discharge and spray and all quickly by the time times slow
Sunlight is